I'm gonna start the recording.
Okay. Uh, so maybe I should go back to the beginning. Since there's so many people. So um, as I was saying earlier, if my name and the company sounds familiar, it's because I did one of these a little bit over a year ago. And so some of you might be familiar with me, might be familiar with the subject. For those of you who are, this is continuing education. For the others, we're in a brand new place. Um, the subject is cannabis tourism, which many of us believe is going to be one of the next big things in tourism. Now, my agenda for today is to cover these five subjects. I want to talk first about our company, what we do and who we are. It's been a while, so I need to reintroduce ourselves. I want to refresh your memories and your understandings as to the nature of cannabis tourism, what it is and why experts believe that this is going to be a really big deal, and why, in my humble opinion at least, this is a category that every travel professional should be paying attention to. And then I want to talk a little bit about cannabis vacations. I know some of you may have questions about what exactly is a cannabis vacation. What do people do? And um, and of course, I'm going to talk about that within the context of what we're doing here. And then I want to talk a little bit about the cannabis consumer. Okay, there is a broad misconception of the cannabis consumer as some lazy, long-haired, ne'er-do-well young man, living in his mother's basement. But the reality could not be further from the truth. And last, but by no means least, I want to talk about why, if you are an agent who has an interest in this category and want to do some work in it, um, um, Ganja Vacations might be a good partner for you. So, if that sounds like a plan, let's get into it. Now, what do we do? Ganja Vacations is a cannabis travel services company. We offer a range of cannabis forward vacation experiences that users can book through us. In other words, our website is a place where vacationers can come to research, plan, and book a cannabis forward um, vacation experience. Right now, we are fully launched in Jamaica. We have about 300 or so uh, um, resort partners down there. Now, Jamaica is not the entirety of our plans or of our ambitions. It's just the place where we chose to start. Now, as you can see here, we offer a variety of services. We do cannabis-friendly accommodations. We do unique vacation packages. We do tours and experiences. And we're now doing cannabis weddings. Now, in terms of accommodations, our focus is on small, intimate boutique properties in all regions of the island. Our sweet spot for the properties on our site is probably 15 to 20 rooms. There are probably no properties on our site more than, say, about 50 rooms. And we have quite a few, Airbnb type properties with two, three, four, five rooms. Now, they are all over the island. If you're familiar with Jamaica, they're in major resort towns like Montego Bay and the Grill and Ocho Rios. They're in quaint little fishing villages that you have never heard about. And we also have them, thousands of feet up in the cool air of the Jamaican mountains. And of course, because cannabis tourists come with bank accounts of all sizes, we try to cover the waterfront in terms of price points, from hostels uh, to luxury. Now, our tours are by far the most popular things on our sites. As you can see here, we offer a broad range of cannabis experiences, from, ganja farm tours to Rastafari culture to Bob Marley related tours to sunset ganja vacation cruises. These tours are being found by people who have booked a vacation on some other platform, and are looking for something to do while they're on the island. Curiously, we're also being found by people who are arriving on the island on a cruise ship. They're going to be on the island for about 5, 6 hours, and they're looking for something to do. And we will pick them up at the cruise ship port. We take them on a nice vacation, on a nice tour, and we bring them back in time for departure. Um, Cannabis weddings are an interesting new thing for us. I'm not going to say much about it here because I'm going to come back and talk about it in more detail later on. Now, as you can see here, um, the people who are booking through us seem to like what we're doing, and are having a good time. So I am not very far into this presentation, but I believe I probably have said 2 or 3 times already that cannabis tourism is going to be a big thing, at least in my opinion. And this, of course, is to be expected of me. I'm involved with the industry, I'm invested in the industry. It is no surprise that I'm optimistic, right? But uh, uh, as you can see here, I am not the only one. There are respected, highly respected third-party experts, analysts, and journalists all over the country who also believe this. And why is this? It is because, ladies and gentlemen, cannabis is becoming mainstream in America. It is already legal in a bunch of states, and adult use is becoming, and more states are coming on stream every year. And the stigma that was once associated with it is rapidly fading, and that will only continue as more and more states um, legalize legalize adult use. However, the factor that is really driving cannabis tourism is that weed lovers are now proactively seeking out cannabis friendly vacation accommodations and destinations. Now, this is no surprise to me. This is something I expected. This was one of the founding principles behind the creation of this business to begin with. However, back then, this was a hope. This was a wish. It was an aspiration. But surveys now show across the board that this is is um, is happening. Um, uh, Cannabis is now being broadly used in the culture, and has become very important to the life and the welfare and the happiness of many people in America. As you can see here, more than 50% of US adults say that they have tried cannabis. And more than 50% of millennials say that access to legal cannabis is a factor in planning a vacation. This, I think, is important. That should be of interest to everybody in the travel industry. Now, I'm going to digress for a minute here. Um, People in cannabis retail will tell you that dispensary and other consumer purchases are being driven by millennial and Gen Z customers. Surprisingly, I think you'll find mostly women. Yeah. So we're talking here about women in their early 20s to late 30s. These are the women who are driving cannabis retail, and they're influencing everything from product development to packaging to marketing. And it's hard for me to believe that these women who are spending a great deal of money on pre-rolls and gummies and all kinds of cute cannabis paraphernalia would not also be interested in cannabis travel experiences. So I am going to, oh, I forget, I can't do that. I am going to transition now and talk a little bit about cannabis vacations, right? The product and the experiences that I think you want to become familiar with, that you want to sell. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do this within the context of what we are doing here. But it's important for you to know. I really want to make the point that the experiences I'm going to be talking about are not definitive in the sense that they are not just the things we do. They are not all the things we do. The idea is to give you a taste, give you a flavor of what can be done. Now, I'm going to start with a vacation experience that we call um, the the smoking getaway. Right now, this is an experience tailored to the um, recreational user who's looking to do very little more than to just chill and smoke for a few days, perhaps with a cold red stripe near at hand. They want to do this at a place where they can smoke openly without any hassles. They're looking for a Jamaican weed experience. They want to sample local varieties. They perhaps want to check out a local dispensary, perhaps do a farm tour, but they're not looking to do very much more than that. Of course, we offer lots of options for the person looking for that kind of experience. I should mention here that all the properties on our site are cannabis friendly, meaning that they allow smoking on the property. Now, many, perhaps even most, don't allow smoking in the rooms, but there are lots of places where people can smoke. They can smoke on the balconies, they can smoke by the pool, they can smoke by the beach, they can smoke by the gazebo, and in tons of open air spaces on most of these properties. The next thing I'm going to talk about is what we call uh, buddy trips. And this is where a group of friends or relatives uh, take over an entire small property. We recently did one of these for a group of 18 lady lawyers who arranged what was essentially a professional development getaway around a Jamaican cannabis and cultural experience. And we structured for that. They took over an entire little resort, and we structured an all-inclusive package for them that, of course, included all the ground transportation, meals, liquor, and a schedule of tours, experiences, lectures, and so on. And they got exactly what they were looking for, which was the freedom and the privacy to interact among themselves, among their own group, um, in their own intimate space. Being part of a big hotel would not have worked for what they were looking for and for what they wanted to do. Then there are, of course, oops, wellness retreats. Wellness is one of the big areas of opportunity in cannabis tourism. Believe it or not, most people who consume cannabis say that they do so for reasons relating to health and wellness. And of course, we offer um, um, several options where people can do this and get everything that you'd expect at at a wellness resort. We also believe that this is a sector with tremendous upside potential, repeat business potential, because if somebody is going to a spa, to some sort of cannabis spa or wellness resort, and they're seeing results, the treatment is working, it's likely that they will keep going back. Um, this is one of our favorite places in Jamaica where we send people. It's called Top Villa. It's it's a upscale boutique resort on the Jamaican North Coast that is totally committed to cannabis wellness. One of the cute things they do here is that they serve tea every day at exactly 4:20. Then there are, of course, romantic getaways. There are, we feel, a lot of 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 cannabis loving couples who would welcome a vacation experience that allows them to focus on the two loves of their lives, right? Cannabis and each other. And these romantic retreats can be just about anywhere. They can be at a beach resort, they can be up in the mountains, and they can be in the middle of a one of the popular resort towns like Montego Bay or Negril, if these are people who want to get access to restaurants and nightlife. And of course, they can all be customized to the specific needs and and interest of the couple. Now, we get quite a lot of inquiries from people interested in Jamaican culture and in Rastafari culture in particular. And one of the places we send them is to this um, Rastafari village that we're showing you here, which is 3,000 feet up in the Blue Mountains of Jamaica above the city of Kingston, where the guests can immerse themselves in the Rastafari culture. They can experience their vegan cuisine, it's their ital cuisine. They can talk endlessly on weed grown right there on the property, and they can participate in the smoking and the praying and the drumming and the other rituals of of their weekly Sabbath. Now, the accommodations are very humble, but this little B&B is one of the most popular properties on our site. Then there is this group that we call the Cannabis Curious. This is another group that experts see a lot of potential with. Now, who are these people? These are people with an interest but very little experience in cannabis. We believe that they include a fairly large percentage of educated upper middle class women who value such things as cute accommodations, safety, education. Most of all, they want to experiment with cannabis in the company of other women in a no pressure, environment that will allow them to be as slow and as tentative as they choose to be. Now, we haven't done any of these yet, but the great thing is that we have several women-owned properties that are chomping at the bit to put together some of these, and we're looking forward to market these, as experiences that are for women, by women. Now, I don't know how many of you realize this, but um, cannabis weddings um, are now a happening thing. Cannabis themed weddings are now a happening thing. They're already a developing thing here in the United States, especially in Las Vegas. I'm sure that's no surprise. You can get married at Planet 13 in Las Vegas. For you, those of you who may not be familiar, Planet 13 is the largest cannabis dispensary in the country, and perhaps also its most famous. There is an increasing number of cannabis loving couples who cannot conceive of the idea of doing something as important, as life changing, as life affirming as getting married without incorporating cannabis in it in some way. And there is now a growing community, already a very significant community actually, of wedding planners and caterers and other vendors that are providing services to facilitate these weddings, allowing the happy couple to include as much or as little cannabis as they want in the ceremonies. Now, our wedding partners in Jamaica can provide all of these things, plus unbelievably beautiful and exotic venues, uh, and also at prices that are far below anything that is available here in the United States. And before I leave this, I want to make one last point about Jamaica and cannabis weddings. Now, many people don't know this, but Jamaica is the number one foreign location outside the United States for destination weddings. A lot of weddings happen down there, and almost all the properties down there, even the very small ones, have experience at at doing that. Now, let me talk a little bit about the cannabis consumer. Now, we tend to group them in these four big categories here, starting out with the young, middle-aged professionals. These are the millennials and Gen Zs that I spoke about earlier. From a travel professionals perspective, um, it's important to note a couple of things about this category. Number one, um, these are people with more than ample disposable income, and number two, these are people who take regular vacations. Okay. As I go through this, you will see that you can make money. There's money to be made in all four of these categories. So, from these young and middle aged professionals, we can also talk about seniors. Again, one of the interesting things about cannabis is that seniors are one of the fastest growing categories of cannabis consumers. I know that's going to surprise many of you. Seniors are one of the fastest growing categories of cannabis consumers. There are a lot of seniors who are using it in lieu of prescription and over-the-counter drugs. There are also a category we call legacy users. These are people who used it in their youth. They left it as they raised their families, but now, they're older. Their families are all gone, and it's legal in their state, and they have gone back to it. Again, um, I want to make 2 points about seniors and travel. Number one, these are people with the time, and two, the money to travel. Speaking broadly here. Now, there are also medicinal users. Now, these users come in all ages and income categories. Of course, many of these are also seniors. And as I mentioned before, when I was talking about health and wellness, this is an area where we feel there's a lot of potential for repeat business as if people keep going back to to spas or resorts where they're having successful treatment, successful experiences. I talked about the cannabis curious earlier, so I don't think I need to get uh, any more into that. So, so finding people interested in cannabis travel may not be nearly as difficult as you may be thinking. They are already your clients. You're doing business with them. As I pointed out earlier, more than 50% of Americans say that they have tried it. And I am as sure as my name is Norman Lawrence that uh, many of your clients consume. Now, I am sure that you're probably not getting calls about it. People are not asking about it, but it's not because they're not interested. It's because they don't know about it. So you have some communication, you have some some education that you might need to do. Um, One of the important points I want to make is that a cannabis vacation is really not new. There's nothing really new or different or weird about it. It's actually no different. Even though I know there are people who will snicker on hearing about it for the first time, but it's no different from traveling to Napa Valley for a California wine country experience, or spending a few days in Kentucky to learn about bourbon. I have done both of those things, and my guess is that some of you have done at least one of them. So I don't want to sound too preachy, but um, I I I want to reinforce the point that you should not be ignoring this emerging area of cannabis tourism. It's going to be big. There's money to be made in it, and of course, the agents who are successful will be those who get in early. Um, and I know that this is a category that will not be for everybody, but if you're an agent with a desire to get involved, there's no better way to get started than with us. We have been doing this for a while. We bring credibility, and we have an abundant supply of ready-made vacation packages that are just ready to go. Um, uh, We're looking for mutually beneficial relationships with agents who see potential in the industry. You bring value to us in several different ways. We offer you a way to make money. And perhaps, I think, for many of you, to differentiate you from some of your local area competitors. trying to find the next slide here. So, you know, we're eager to help you in any way we can, but you have to tell us what you need. You have to let us know how we can help you, how we can make optimal use of your industry knowledge, your clientele for a mutual benefit, And as you can see here, we offer very, what I think, outstanding commission structure. We take any business you bring to us, but because we believe that cannabis tourism, that cannabis vacation experiences are great for what we call buddy trips, we have a commission structure that is weighted towards people who can generate group business. But we're not looking exclusively for group business. We work with whatever you can deliver. So that's it for me. Um, and I think I'll just pause here and take whatever questions you might have.
All right, guys. So if you have any questions for Mr. Norman, please put them in the chat. Mr. Norman, thank you so very much. I never even thought about cannabis weddings.
Oh yeah. Uh, the if cannabis weddings can be kind of tricky, I'll give you a story, a cute story. Um, it was in all the papers actually about 2 years ago. I don't remember where this happened. I think it was in California, someplace. Um, the bride and her wedding planner uh, ended up in jail after scores of the wedding guests ended up at the emergency room because they had served cannabis spiked edibles and drinks without telling their guests about it. So they're a happening thing, but you know, um, you can't do it sly. You have to let your guests know.
Oh, wow. Well, we do have a question. So you mentioned earlier that you can pick them up from the different properties and do like
Yeah.
an all-inclusive package for them.
Yes.
Okay, because the question was if you could pick them up from a bigger resort. So Leon, that is a yes. Are there any additional questions?
Well, was the topic not interesting, or was I just that good and explained everything?
I think you did a real thorough job. What locations do you operate from now? So other than Jamaica, is there anywhere else? I know you said there are some forthcoming, but do you have any already that is boots on the ground per se?
Well, we really want to become a little bit more firmly established in Jamaica before we branch out. From Jamaica, our intention is to move to the broader Caribbean. There are, as of right now, I think about 20 or 21 Caribbean nations that have either recently or are in the process of liberalizing their cannabis laws. So it is our belief that in the not too distant future, there is going to be a significant Caribbean wide cannabis tourism industry. And we want to be a player there. And so that's our next step from Jamaica, and we're going to concentrate there before we move beyond that region.
Okay, so are you in the Ocho Rios area or Montego Bay area
Oh,
only,
oh,
or
oh, oh,
Negril?
we're all over
All over.
we're all over the island. As I said, we have over 300 properties. We are in the West. We are in Montego Bay. We are in Negril. We are in the Treasure Beach area, one of the upcoming area on the southwest coast. We are all along the north coast, Ocho Rios, Discovery Bay, all the way to the east in Port Antonio, and we even have resorts in Kingston. So yeah, we are everywhere in Jamaica.
Okay, and could you put your link in the chat for your portal, your booking portal, or your
Okay.
website.
Okay. Let me see if I can go back
Is
here. Uh, where are we now? I don't see that little window here to put it. I see somebody there with palm trees behind her.
Mhm. What is the website? I can type it if you just tell me what it is. Is it
Oh, yeah.
420? Is it 420compass.com? Is that it?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
It is ganjavacations.net. GANJA vacations with an S.net. Ganjavacations.net.
Okay.
And uh, you know, you're free to explore the website. If there are any ideas you have, um, they don't have to be, fully developed. If you just want to, you want to get quotes, you want to check availability, whatever, give me a call, drop me an email. Um, we will, we will, we will work with you. In the past, we have also um, done um, marketing materials, flyers, and so on for people who want to market certain specific aspects of this uh, uh, to their customers.
There is a question. I know earlier you mentioned that you have various property styles. The question asks, are you looking to branch out to bigger properties or keeping smaller, intimate ones? I believe you stated that you have from small properties to large properties. And then
Yeah,
also,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and then it also asks about like possibly having a dispensary like Hito on site on some of your
Um,
properties.
yeah, so we are limited um, uh, to small properties um, for a couple of reasons. Number one, the big guys are going to come to this later, not for a while. Um, and so um, that's number one. The second thing is that I think our clients prefer the privacy and the intimacy of these small properties. And so um, that's where the business is right now. As I said, there are probably few, only a handful of properties more than 50 rooms in our site. Um, Number one. The other question was about dispensaries. We have about 4 or 5 properties with an on-site dispensary. Um, and if you're in Montego Bay or if you're in Negril, um, even though it's Urias, you're really never that far um, from a dispensary. Also, one of the things we like to do, since people are coming for a cannabis experience, we want to get them in the mood as as quickly as possible after they land. Most, I say most, almost all of our people fly into Montego Bay, which is on the north coast, where all the resorts are, and the Montego Bay Airport is just minutes from downtown Kingston, and there's a strip called the called the Hip Strip with lots of high end shops and so on. That's only about 10 minutes from the airport, and there are two dispensaries on that strip. So many times, they get picked up at the airport. They're taken to a dispensary 10 minutes out of the airport, excuse me, they can look around, they can make purchases, they can even hang out for a while. Many of these dispensaries in Jamaica have smoking rooms, and they can get back in the car and continue. In some cases, it might be an hour, 90 minutes or so from the airport to the destination resort that they're going to.
All right, guys, are there any more questions that you have for Mr. Norman? And please put your email addresses in the chat so that we can send him over this information for those that were on there. And I'm gonna ask for one more time. Are there any additional questions? Because I want to make sure you get your questions answered while we have him on the line. We got some great info, got some great presentation. You were excellent. Interesting topic. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more additional questions, Mr. Norman, we thank you for taking the time out of your evening to present to our agents. We look forward to hearing more about this property in the future and how the industry has changed. And hopefully we will get you some partnerships built with some of the agents that are online and as well as the ones that wasn't able to make it today because they'll be able to access the recording.
Okay.
So on behalf of Mrs. Nina Jackson Mitchell and the Elite team, we thank you humbly for joining us tonight.
Well, many thanks for the invitation and for the opportunity to present to you. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Guys,
Okay.
this
Ciao.
webinar is officially over. Make sure I'm giving time.